All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He's a great Z.
Let's go. So, by the way, I meant to do this yesterday, and I think this will be of interest to you. So I'm glad that you have your pen handy. This is for, I'll just say this. I think good pizza is worth traveling for, but this is probably going to be more for the people who are listening that are on the east side, the B side with me and Bo here. But I've been hearing for weeks and weeks and weeks, years about Pizza Deloro, Dilauro, which is right off of 422 and 306.
Okay.
Like literally right, you get off the freeway, it's right there.
Okay. Know where that is?
S is a huge fan of theirs. I heard it's right around the corner from my in-laws. So I knew a lot of people who had been pumping this place up. So we decided on today's what, Thursday. This week feels I'm discombobulated on dates. So
it is wonky.
Tuesday night.
Okay.
So Tuesday night we ordered some. We got our usual, which is our staple, which is a pepperoni and mushroom. That's the automatic.
Come on. Do you know in all of my years of discussing pizza toppings that are their go-to, you are the only person other than me and my brother who go pepperoni mushroom I've ever heard.
Which is insane. So
it's the best.
Is there another pizza?
It's my favorite to this day.
Yeah.
It's all I ate as a kid. It's my favorite. But you rarely hear it.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't see others.
Yeah.
I really don't understand how there even is another option, because the pepperoni and the mushroom, it's like peanut butter and jelly.
I couldn't agree with you more.
It's like me and you doing this show.
That's right. Big B's.
So I always get that. That's how I judge a pizzeria.
Same. Me
is
too.
their pepperoni and mushroom. And then we also wanted to try the margarita, because I love a good, and it's a real margarita. It's not like a cheese and they put a piece of basil on and they say this is a margarita. It's a real margarita with the fresh mozzarella and the tomato sauce and the basil and all of it. Let me just say this.
Okay.
I thought that it was one of the best pizzas I've had in my entire time in Cleveland. And the only other names that I would mention in the same breadth of this in terms of how much I enjoyed it. And this isn't even having it fresh. It's bringing it home, getting the oven, getting it back up to a little bubble. It's amazing. Il Rione is incredible.
Yep.
And that's probably my favorite in the kind of, the downtown near West Side area.
Yep.
And then back in the day, I haven't been there in many, many years, Murata's, which is when I lived near Cedar Lee. Murata's was incredible, but could only be eaten in store. Could only be eaten in the restaurant. Something crazy happened to that. I don't know what magic they had in that dough, but it underwent a strange transformation if you brought it home and reheated it. But in was amazing. This Pizza Deloro is great. The price is right. It's family run. I feel like I'm doing. I'm not. I just
enjoyed it.
I just really, really enjoy it. I think they've been in business about 5 years now. S tells me on a Wednesday, the proprietor, the dad who runs it, that he makes his own gnocchi with a vodka sauce. It's only on Wednesday. So I was like, all right, I got to go try that.
Give that a shot.
That sounds pretty good. But pizza is great. It's the kind I like, the thin crust. The sauce is excellent. That is an important part of it.
Yep.
Cheese was perfect. The pepperonis, they had them where they kind of started to curl up and they got a nice little crust on the edge of your pepperoni.
Yeah.
Mushrooms were delightful. And then on the mozzarella, on the fresh mozzarella was on the margarita was great. I always do. I like hot honey on pizza.
Yeah, sure.
But I will not on my first taste. So I did a piece of each, and I went in pure and then did a piece of each with a little hot honey. And I got to tell you, the hot honey on the margarita was really nice because it's, it just adds a little bit of depth of flavor, but not needed whatsoever on the other one. And you don't need them at all. It was just really, really good pizza. So really good, real easy. I guess there's like a lounge attached to it. When I went in there on a Tuesday at 7 something, I pulled in the parking lot. The parking lot was full. I'm like, what's going on?
Jacked up on a Tuesday, ready to go.
Yeah, and the place I think it does like just mad business. So it's not
great
like,
for them.
Number one, happy to help them, a local family-owned business that was awesome. The pizza was great, but like they couldn't. I don't know. They could have been much busier for just a Tuesday. And like when I walked in, it was ready, and away we went. It was awesome.
Looks very much similar. I can't wait to try it. Looks very similar. There's a place near us called Luca.
Okay.
Which has a very
what a name.
What a name. It has a delicious, very similar. As soon as yours pulled up, as soon as that one pulled up, it looks exactly like. Yeah. That's the type I like. The New York slice, the big slice.
Yeah.
That's the one. So that's a great job.
Very good. Like whenever you find something like that, because we at Flowers got nice pizzas when you're eating in there. I'm Italian. There's some nice pizzas over on our Uncle Spike's, which has a pizza that literally wouldn't fit in the studio. I couldn't even put it in my car. I had to put it in my trunk. It's the biggest pizza I've ever seen. But this one, it was just really good, and it was the people in there were cool. The owners and everything, they were super cool, and
that's
nice.
Like,
this place that was legit.
That's awesome, man. You love when you find a little nugget like that out in the world. So that's a good job out of them. Yeah. We have a goodbye. Officially, via social. Mr. Teller.
This keeps happening.
It does keep happening. Mr. Wyatt Teller with a goodbye that he posted on social. He and his wife Carly saying goodbye to Cleveland. You want to talk about formidable time in a town. Think about those two kids.
I remember being at – so he proposed to her on the field.
That's right.
And then I remember, I don't know if Gibby, do you remember this? We did mandatory mini camp in the stadium.
Yep, cookout with alums afterward.
And that's when they announced that they were pregnant with their first child.
Yep.
And they held up, the ultrasounds and did those pictures there. I remember watching that. So, this is why he came in here, an incredible trade by the Dorse.
Incredible. To
bring him in. He was a 5th-round pick. Callahan had some knowledge of him. They bring him in here. And, he becomes a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second-team All-Pro. Obviously, beautiful family.
Yep.
Signs a big contract. So they're all set for a great time. I loved Wyatt. Wyatt always played hard.
Yes, he did.
He was physical. He was, one of the best pulling guards in the NFL, pancakes, all of it. And I think there even says with 11, I thought it said with 11 pancakes on one of them. Oh, it does. Yeah, with 11 pancakes, Wyatt Teller, number 77.
Yep.
A great Cleveland Brown. And, I'm really bummed that, with David Njoku and now Wyatt Teller, you're losing guys that you really got to see grow up here, you guys that you saw play at a Pro Bowl level and who are now moving on that were a part of your core. And, Carly has been great her whole time here. Wyatt's been great. They just were really kind of the first couple of the Cleveland Browns.
I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Right?
I think so too. Yeah.
And it was really cool. And I'll be honest with you. I thought the way this season ended with regards to Wyatt Teller sucked.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of it.
No.
We said that as much on the air. Look, he admitted himself. He said, my play this year wasn't at the standard it had been at the years before, but I thought he deserved better than being rotated in and out. This is solely my opinion. And I don't think it's controversial. And when you see something like this now, it bums you out because guys like Wyatt, and you think of Wyatt and Chief and even Nick Chubb before, and injuries obviously were a big reason with that one, and whatever ends up happening with Joel. There's certain guys that, and maybe this is me just being sentimental or a bit of a nut, but to me there are certain people that have given a lot to your organization that you would want to see their time here end kind of on their terms or in the manner in which they would like it to. Now, that's probably more the case for teams that win a lot of Super Bowls than maybe, this. But in case of teams that win a lot of Super Bowls, those guys are all fleeing because they get paid a lot of money to go elsewhere. So I think it's a bummer to me. I liked Wyatt a lot. Always was great with us, certainly in the media. Played hard, was tough as they come. And kind of like Joel, you could count on him. You could count on him to be out there. And I thought that's why it stunk the way that he, was rotated, and then he ends up getting hurt, and who knows if that rotation had anything to do with it. So that was just, I think, a bummer of an end for him, but liked Wyatt a great deal, and certainly wish him well. And, listen, the NFL is hard. It is hard to get to a certain level of play. Mm-hmm. It's even harder to stay there for year after year after year after year. To have a 3-year run as a Pro Bowl and an All-Pro, that's a long run. That's the length of the average NFL career. So to be at that level, and maybe Wyatt can get back there. I certainly think he is talented enough and capable of doing it. But it is natural that there will be an arc in somebody's career in terms of their productivity. But yeah, it's a bummer, and it's one of those things. I kind of like that. From a fan perspective, now right? We know Wyatt Teller is not coming back. We know David Njoku is not coming back. And so it just makes more clear what we need to do to address those things. And and go from there.
He, I had forgotten that we got him in his second year in the league.
Yeah.
Acquired him in year 2 in the league.
He's been here since 19?
7 years. Yes, first year was in 2019.
Acquired him between the final preseason game.
He was
and week
acquired.
one.
Right, that's right.
Like it was a random Wednesday.
Well, here's what you guys will both remember this.
I thought he was acquired. Just real quick. I thought he was acquired in my mind, and I may be wrong, but I thought he was acquired like right before that final preseason game. It came in on the Wednesday. I just remember talking about it. I remember talking about it in that pregame show of that preseason game, and I almost thought we found out in that moment in my mind. I might be misremembering
The trade happened August 29th. I would think that would
be after
August 29th, 2019. The Bills traded guard Wyatt Teller and a 2021 seventh-round pick to the Browns.
The day of the game. In my mind, it was the day
Maybe
of the game, and I remember being on
in exchange
News
for
5 and being like, "Oh,
and 6th."
What's the date, Gibby?
August 29th, 2019.
Yeah, and then he jumps in and is just productive right away. It's like,
boy, good memory out of you. August 29th, final preseason game. We beat the Lions 20-16.
yeah,
So on that day?
On that day.
Like I remember it happening. In my mind, it happened like while I was on the air.
So that's
the pregame
okay.
show.
So cut down day was still on Sunday then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it was Saturday at 4 or Sunday
Yeah.
at 4.
Yeah. No, it was August
So-
29th, 2019.
Because they made him available like the day after the game. We're like, who's this guy?
Well, and this is what I was just going to say. You remember why we had him in studio the first time? Because in those days, guys used to come in here a lot.
Yep.
Do you remember why?
No.
The somersault.
The somersault.
You remember that?
Was that in New England?
I think it was in New England. He had the block somersault.
Got up and
went and
blocked
blocked
somebody
again.
else. Yeah, it was New
And
England.
then we had him in studio.
It was New England.
And that clip started going viral.
Yeah.
Like, did you see? Wait, what did he do?
Yeah.
And then we had him in studio
That was
like
New
either
England.
that Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember when it was.
And then I want to say maybe late in that season. No, it was next season. It would have been 2020 because 19 was Freddie. 2020 was with Kevin when we were in Cincinnati. Is when he had the one where he came around and he did the Superman.
Yes.
And he pancaked someone and Chubb took it to the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wyatt was awesome.
that's the thing that is that's really hard about this business. It's really hard about this league. First of all, it's hard for me to believe that that's been 7 years, that basically an entire career has happened here.
Yes.
You know, that's hard.
Chief was 9 years here.
I know it.
Joel's been a starter here since 2014.
I know it. Yeah.
Ethan Posick even, I want to say, is 4 or 5 years. Posick,
Yeah, because
When
JC
Hudson went down.
22, Posick was starter the last 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Conklin's
massive.
been here
Not
since
Hudson
20.
Harris,
So
I'm sorry.
Conklin, 20, 21, 22, 23, Conklin 6 years.
Yeah.
So you're talking 6, 7, 4. Is it 4? How many for Batonio if I'm doing 2014? 12?
13?
13?
12?
Something like that. Yeah.
Batonio, 12 years in the league, 178 starts. I mean, you
Jeez.
talk about, he goes all 16, then 10, then 5 in 2016 he got hurt, and then he rolls off all 16, all 16, all 16, all 16, all 17, all 17. Was on pace to even get in the discussion with the Hoff from the snaps.
That's right. Yeah.
But in 2023, if you remember, he tried to have a minor scope on his knee. Our bye was early.
Yep.
And he tried to have the scope on the knee and then be back for the Niners game. He has the scope, isn't able to be back for the
That's
Niners
right,
game. That
yeah.
ends his streak, and then he plays the 15 that year. He missed 2 games ultimately, 17-17. Guy's just an absolute animal and a legend. But that's what I'm talking about. You're talking about, I was driving by the stadium,
Yep.
and the stadium had 8 people from our team last year that were up. And on one side of the stadium, it was Batonio, Teller, Njoku were 3 of the 4 in that one section.
Yeah. Yep. And fingers crossed on Joel, but
And you go back 2 years, Chubb's in that picture.
Oh,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure,
So when you're
yeah.
talking about the guys that have been kind of the core of this, that were the consistent core of us and our playoff run, right, is Batonio, Teller, Chubb, Njoku,
yep.
Conklin,
Yep.
and then obviously defensively Miles, Denzel.
Sure. Miles and Denzel are kind of the
But that's really it.
They're it.
That's
Of
it.
Like that era.
Grant is getting there.
Yeah, a little bit of Grant. Yep, sure. Yeah, but for the most part, we're on to a, and we knew this was coming. Like you knew
100%.
that Teller was coming, you knew Chief was coming, but and fingers crossed on Joel, but when it becomes official, it hits. And you sit back and you reflect not only on their time here, you think about relationships, you think about, and then from a big picture perspective, you start to think about offensively. And next week, as we get to the combine, I mean, this is going to be, and you and I have been preparing. We've talked to folks that we've been talking about this for a long time, but like that offensive front might be all new.
All new.
It's very possible. It's 5 new starters up front. I mean, that could be in play because you don't know with DeJuan and if he can get back to being healthy, and obviously he missed a great portion of this year. So, yeah, I mean, it could be a start-over situation up front, which is going to be pretty wild. I mean, to do something like that and have an undertaking on the front line.
Yes. Yes, it is. And that's why it's a massive undertaking, and that's why free agency and this draft are going to be very, very important. And, it's discussions that we have had, discussions that I'm sure we will have again as we get into Combine Week. But, like, you've got to get your weapons, and then you've got to get the line to allow those weapons to flourish. Now, we've seen lines be successful without necessarily banner-level players at some of those positions.
Yes.
We have also seen, lines be not successful here. But there's a lot to do on the offensive side of the ball. A lot to do.
The up front is a complete reconstruction.
Yep.
Massive weapon need. Depth at tight end. A plan at quarterback. I mean, like, these are heavy things, bud.
Yeah.
I mean, this is heading to the Combine next week. These are big, big, big questions.
Yep.
That are going to have to be answered, and they'll be answered in varying ways. You're going to be answered in free agency. They're going to be answered via trade, and inevitably they'll be answered in the draft. But the draft is the third of those things. So, yeah, it's going to be a wild time, to say the least. It is a Mailbag Thursday edition of the program. Get your questions in. Bobby's busy early. He's got
good.
It. He's
That's
got
good.
it rolling.
Set the tone.
He's got
Set the tone for
He's
the
not
day.
screwing around.
He's coming
not
to
screwing
play.
around on a Thursday. Bobby is not screwing around at all on a Thursday. You know what I watched last night? I did.
Good. So good.
So good. It's interesting.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms spoilers. If you have not watched the 5th episode, go away for a little while.
I won't do anything spoilery. Just big picture. I alluded to this a little bit yesterday. I've always thought that there are really only 2 things you cannot DVR, and that is live sports that you care about.
Yep.
You cannot DVR, and I don't think you can DVR shows that cross over that you care about, that become bigger.
Yep.
And so this episode aired on Sunday.
Yes.
I was in California Monday and then in transit back Tuesday. It was almost impossible for me to avoid spoilerish stuff.
Of course.
Really hard.
Impossible.
It was everywhere.
Because
it was all over Instagram.
it's everywhere.
Everywhere you look.
It's like, it feels like it's the most popular thing going.
does.
Now, I don't know because your algorithms are now based on what you click on, and so I've clicked on a bunch of stuff, so now it's...
Yeah, it feeds you.
But I just had my buddies, Joey and Beatbox, watched it. They just binged all 5 in the last 2 days to get caught up. And
they're short apps, so you can fly through them.
They love it. And at first they were like, oh, it's fun. It's and then they're like, oh, man. Then you get into 3 and then 4, and then you're like 5. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, so good. So good. And then this morning they dropped the Dragons teaser, which looked massive.
And good. Yeah.
They might be back.
I think they're back.
They might have the fastball
No,
back.
I think they're back.
Yeah.
I think they're quite
Yeah,
back.
I
And
think they're back.
think that
it's too good of a source material
yes.
to not deliver on.
Well, one of the things that's cool about House of Dragons is that it's ultimately going to get to the point where there are no dragons.
Yes.
And that's going to be fascinating to see how that got there. We know how that's impacted the world now, as we're seeing in this one, which is a little bit of a bridge between House of Dragons and this. I think House of Dragons, they went through so much stuff so quickly, and then I thought the first season, I thought there were some good things once it kind of slowed down at the end.
The first one was good.
The second one was a little, but this looks like they have an opportunity. They look like
It seems like they're locked.
they're
in.
ready to go.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's nice when you have something like that that's out. It sucks. It's only 6 episodes. I feel like it could have been 10.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe they didn't do hour-long episodes. I feel like they could have done that too. There's a lot of source material.
So this one was, and I've done a ton of reading about, the episodes where it deviates, where it doesn't, and understanding all the history and really trying to get myself immersed in, but also then a lot of stuff with the showrunner. And they just didn't have the budget that like House of Dragons had
for like the battle.
So that's why they focused kind of on
I still thought it was great.
Because it was great.
Yeah, and it
was Saving Private Ryan-ish.
That's kind of what I thought. Yeah, I thought that I thought he really did an incredible job. I was listening to the guy who was the director, and he said we really wanted that claustrophobic feel, and I'm like, well, you did it. Like shooting from inside the helmet was crazy. It was great. It was really enjoyable.
And
if you haven't seen it,
get up.
It's great.
Get up.
If you haven't seen it, I think you'll really enjoy it. I don't think you have to watch Thrones to enjoy it. Like
I think it stands on its own.
I think it
completely.
Stands on its own.
I think it would make you want to watch Thrones. It would,
for sure.
Like I just said, and it's funny. I know that it's ending on Sunday, and I just said to Miss Kay, I was like, I want to watch Thrones back. I want to run the whole thing back.
I was thinking about doing Dragon back to prepare for when that launches, so that to remember all of that stuff. But Thrones, I told you this, I think 2 weeks ago. Oh, no, it was when
you were telling me all these, like some of the first episodes.
Yeah, I was watching some of the first season stuff, and I'm like, this stuff is unbelievable.
Unreal.
Yeah, the palace intrigue
It doesn't
incredible.
end the way it does not do it justice. There were still 3 of the best episodes of television ever in the last 6 episodes.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the satisfying ending, and it was rushed, and they could have those last 6 episodes could have been 3 seasons, and you would have gotten the slow burn in Khaleesi and finally where she flips, and you've had all that, and you would have had a lot of things. And I think there were different directions that could have been gone. I think that Jon Snow and Khaleesi should have gotten together, had the prince who was promised that.
Right.
Or what I really
whatever
thought,
it may have been. What it was, that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
That was not it.
I mean, I really thought the White Walkers should have taken over. I mean, they had a dragon.
Seemed like they were formidable.
They seemed pretty formidable. I mean, when all the Dothraki horde goes out there and you see the lights all extinguished, you're like, that's not good.
Seems a problem. Big waste to the Dothraki, I thought, on that.
Yeah, very sad for them.
Not the best battle plans for Jon Snow.
No. And so I thought, White Walker, and then Jon Snow, and it ends with, like, you see Jon Snow and Khaleesi had escaped somewhere in some cave, and then they have a child.
The chance,
and that child is going to brings humanity back.
Yeah.
Like, that feels like a pretty satisfying conclusion there.
No, and I think because of the way it ended, like, it is not in pop culture at all. And I think there's a generation of people who haven't seen any of it. And if you are one of those people, you'll enjoy it tremendously. And I would recommend it. So I really think because of the way it ended, it's not talked about. Like, you hear people all the time rewatching The Sopranos or The Wire or those type of things, Breaking Bad, Mad Men. There's nothing around that around Game of Thrones. And I think it's just such a sour taste for the way it ended. But I would tell you, if you haven't, you're really going to enjoy it.
Yep.
And I think you really like this show that's on now. All right, there you go. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospital, special healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. A reminder is a mailbag day. Get your questions in. Tweet them at Browns_daily using that hashtag AskCBD. You can also hit us up live in the YouTube chat. You do so at youtube.com/Browns. Ask anytime, and the list will be completed. We continue our positional reviews heading into the Combine next week in Indianapolis. We are in the defensive end room. It is a very big room. It is a very talented room. It has maybe the best player in football. We get to all of that coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for your Cleveland Browns. They'll tackle any size office at 216-485-2000. Before we get to your position review, one thing that I missed in that opening segment was the news that the Browns have promoted Brandon Lynch, our buddy B. Lynch, from DB's coach to pass game specialist. So he gets that title now, picks up pass game specialist as well. Sources telling Jonathan Jones Lynch, considered a future DC candidate, was pursued by multiple teams this offseason. The respected coach stays in Cleveland with a new coaching regime.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see on the defensive staff lots of elevations of some of our favorite people. Here in terms of titles like that, as you see for B. Lynch, I think there could be some in the offing as well for Coach Bonda and Coach Tarv, and I think that would be a good thing. And I think that defensive staff is not quite finished yet, which is why we're waiting a little bit. We had a pretty small defensive staff relative to other teams in the league. I think we'll have a little bit of a bigger defensive staff especially with a first-time defensive coordinator, and so we'll see how that all shakes out. But hopefully, by tomorrow, or at least by Monday, I think you want to have the staff in place before you head to the combine. So hopefully this will be nice. Wrapped up and we can get the press release, and then we can all just go forward with it.
Yeah, typically by the time you get to the combine, you want all of those things sorted out, because it's the other thing you got to remember, not only does the whole league go to the combine, it's kind of the one chance for all of your people in the same room.
100%.
All of football, all of coaching, all in one room.
Yeah.
And we can all kind of get on the same page, which will be very interesting. All right, we continue our position reviews in the defensive room. We are in the defensive end room now. We will get to the defensive tackles a little bit later in the program, but this is D end, and in this room is maybe the best player in all of football. For the depth of the room, Dr. Z.
You got obviously Myles Garrett. You have the best defensive player in the league, in the world, on planet Earth. You got Alex Wright. You got Isaiah McGuire, two young guys. Alex Wright, given an extension last year, played very well for you. 5.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, a forced fumble. If you kind of add his numbers together with Isaiah McGuire and you say, okay, that's kind of the primary person opposite of Alex Wright, you got 7.5 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. That's incredible.
Yes.
When you think about what this room did as a whole from these 4 guys, 28.5, 30.5, 32.5 sacks. You had 33 tackles for loss, which is the second most in NFL history. 33 tackles for loss, 12 and 8, so that's 53. 54 tackles for loss. You've got 5 forced fumbles. I mean, you're talking about that is incredible production.
Nuts, yeah.
Now, Myles will be here. Alex Wright will be here. Isaiah McGuire will be here. Isaiah McGuire is looking to kind of secure himself a little bit of a future here with the Cleveland Browns, entering the final year of his rookie deal. And then Cam Thomas is a guy that is very well thought of, not just in our building, but around the league, plays very, very hard. Had a good season, as I mentioned, the 2.5 sacks and a tackle for a loss in his 17 games last year as a role player. So this is a room that's in really, really good shape. It is a room that also I think you've got to see, ultimately, do you draft somebody? I think you need a little succession planning. You got your top 2 are here for a while, but Isaiah McGuire is that somebody who's rotating out. Cam Thomas, do you have to think about getting another and we've drafted pretty well in the mid-rounds at this position.
Yes.
Is this a position that we need to look at, maybe in the middle rounds in this draft as having somebody that can be, the heir apparent to McGuire as this goes on? Because I think it would be difficult to have Myles, Alex Wright, and also pay Isaiah McGuire, the big money. You could do it. Certainly can be done. And I think you'd want to keep him in. If you could have that trio here for a long time, that feels pretty good. But that's really it. I think they'd love to run these 4 back. One thing that'll be interesting is, we typically had, 5 defensive ends.
Yep.
Up a lot last year. Do we do that again? Is that how the trend continues with the new defensive coordinator Rudenberg as opposed with Jim Schwartz? So those are the guys that are your top 4 for sure. Last year the Browns it was those guys, and then Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who started the season here and then was traded, I believe, in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they'll bring somebody into that room. Is it a draft? Is it a free agent? And I think they would like to bring Cam Thomas back. This is a pretty easy room. This is one of those.
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot you have to worry about or do. Yeah, you're going to make an addition or 2 here. You're going to bring in some bodies, certainly to compete. But for the most part, you feel pretty good about where you are in that room, and obviously because it's led by the best. non-quarterback in the National Football League.
Miles is already a first ballot Gold Jacket.
Yes.
That's already done.
Yep.
Now, when you think about in terms of his personal accomplishment, he is in a spot now where you're going to start talking about Bruce Smith and Reggie White and Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt and best defensive lineman ever.
Yep.
I mean, that's the air he occupies. And that's kind of the only thing left is just an accumulation of greatness.
Yeah.
And what that gets you is football immortality. It gets you in the ultimate game that we talk about all the time that's played in Canton, that fictional game that we talk about. It gets you on lists like when the NFL is playing its 125th season and you or whatever that number is, every time there's an anniversary and they put together the all-time team and there's these group are the defensive ends, he is now playing himself into those conversations.
100%.
And that is heavy stuff. I mean, the Hoff's in that, so we had him and all that comes with the greatness of that. And now to have a second player that is starting to get into those conversations, it's never taken lightly.
I think
when you're talking about that type of greatness.
No, I think he's in those conversations. I mean, I think that you
just need more of it.
You need more of it, and what the one piece which is obviously clearly not necessary to be in those conversations is team success.
Yes,
because Joe Thomas did not have the team success that he deserved and wanted. But when you're talking about somebody who is 5 out of 6 years is the first team All-Pro. He's also got 2 second-team All-Pros. He's now had 14 or more sacks in 5 straight seasons.
Yep.
He's been the Defensive Player of the Year twice now. He has led the league. He has the record, obviously, for sacks in a single season. He has the second most tackles for loss in a single season. He's led the league in tackles for loss each of the last 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's eluding him so far is he doesn't, which is a wild one, does not have an interception on his resume, which I believe he did have one in Chicago. I think he did. That was a Carl Nassib offsides erased. And he doesn't have the team success in terms of, getting to play in a huge game. And somebody that he certainly looked up to, Texas A&M alum Von Miller. Von Miller, was in Denver, was able to be a part of those championship teams, and then kind of became, a mercenary. Now, Von Miller, 3 first-team All-Pros, 0 Defensive Players of the Year.
Yep.
Miles' resume has surpassed his immensely. But what he did do was then go chase, Broncos, chase with the Rams, chase with the Buffalo Bills at the end of his career. But he was on a team that was able to do it, and he was the Super Bowl MVP that year. Their run to the Super Bowl, in the 2 runs to the Super Bowl that he's been a part of, he has 9 sacks in 7 games and 3 forced fumbles, Von Miller. So he got the opportunity in the big spotlight and made the big plays. Miles is absolutely there. I think that if you were to, I know Joe Thomas believes that he's like, if I had 1 rep against anybody, he's the last person I'd want to see opposite me. I have no part of that. He's incredible, and we're lucky to have him. We've had him for his whole career, and I think the one thing that you want to have for him and for our fans is that success. When you think about guys like Joel Batone, it's that success is what you want. You want these people to have the opportunity to play and put on shows in the biggest stage that there is. Yeah. But Miles was drafted in 2017. He's 30. He will turn 31 in this season. Now, when a guy like I mentioned, like a Von Miller, those pass rushers can have a little bit longer careers. Think about the guy that he was compared to, coming out in the draft was Julius Peppers.
Yeah.
And, Von Miller's now at 14 years in the NFL. Julius Peppers, I want to say, and he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, if I am not mistaken. Julius Peppers, I think, played like 16 or 17 years, as I try to look this up here. And, of course, the internet, there we go. He's a 9-time. So Myles Garrett is 1 more first-team All-Pro from having as many first-team All-Pros as Julius Peppers and Von Miller combined in what would be a combined 31 seasons for those 2.
Yeah, no, it's there.
And he's done it in 9 seasons.
Yep.
Think about that.
Oh, it's nuts, dude.
Think about that.
I think the most amazing of all of Miles' accomplishments, I think the double-digit sack one is the one that's crazy to me. that he's done that
8 straight years.
8 straight seasons of double-digit sacks, like every year. Like, just show up, don't get hurt, go.
I think that what we're seeing is he is, he's on lists now that include him and Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White.
Well, that's what I said. Bruce Smith, Reggie White,
Smith.
like those are the –
and that's it.
Those are the lists that's the ultimate game list.
All right.
So he's right there.
Bruce Smith's an 8-time first-team All-Pro.
Yeah. You do Bruce. I'll get Reggie.
Bruce Smith's best stretch is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight with double-digit sacks, but he had double-digit sacks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And did I say 7? Yeah. He had 12 out of 13 years he had double-digit sacks. 12 out of 13 years, Bruce Smith.
Reggie White, 8-time first-team All-Pro, 13-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl champion. Double-digit sacks, oh, my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Missed one, then 1, missed 1, 2, 3. So that's what, 13 seasons of double-digit sacks for Reggie White?
So he's 9. So I think that's the record because LT is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. LT's 8-time first-team All-Pro as well. Was an MVP. He was a Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. But he's in that.
That's
big
talks.
That's the air that he's in.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the two more modern. Again, not edge rushers. J.J. Watt, 5-time first-team All-Pro. So that's the same. J.J. Watt is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. J.J. Watt's biggest streak of consecutive double-digit sack seasons was 4.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Donald.
Was it the back with JJ?
Yeah, it's injuries. He had injuries in the middle of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because his start was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's in that. Aaron Donald, 8-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald had double-digit sacks in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons at his peak.
At D-tackle.
And he was Defensive Rookie of the Year, first-team All-Pro, first-team All-Pro, first-team All-Pro Defensive Player of the Year, first-team All-Pro Defensive Player that led the league with 20.5 sacks, first-team All-Pro, first-team All-Pro Defensive Player of the Year, so one Defensive Player of the Year 3 out of 4 years, first-team All-Pro, Pro Bowler, and then his last season in the league, he was still a first-team All-Pro.
Yeah.
He's
yeah, that's just rarefied air.
Yep.
When you talk about the company he now keeps.
Yep.
It's pretty special and very special to have him. All right, coming up next, we'll go around the sports world. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom with the Bally Bet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. We go around the sports world, and we have a little bit of a stadium debate in regard to the Chicago Bears. The state of Indiana has passed a bill that took a meaningful step towards luring the Bears to Northwest Indiana and a new domed stadium, which will be located in the city of Hammond. So, I did a little, I'm not from Chicago, but I've been there a lot. This town is essentially on the border between Indiana and Illinois. Mm-hmm. It is south, so it is between Gary, Indiana, and the border.
Yep.
It is not far from where 90 splits, and then you go Lakeshore if you want to go into the town, so right on the water. This area is on, there's a lake there. It's called Lake something that they call it. I can't remember, but that area is kind of what it is called. My hunch is, I mean, clearly what's being done from the Bears' perspective is they are using the Indiana bid as leverage to get what I think they probably want most, which is the Arlington Heights location. The downtown location is one that they've had all sorts of problems with.
Is it by Wolf Lake?
That's it.
There you go.
The thing that's going to be hard is that, and the best example I can think of this is the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves had just built Turner Field, as it was initially called, and they had built it for the 96 Olympics, and it was there. And it was just south of downtown Atlanta. And the Braves' contention was, no one wants to come here. Our constituency is north of the city, northern suburbs.
Yep.
So they built a stadium in the northern suburbs, and now it's one of the tougher tickets in baseball, and they've got a great experience and all of those things.
Isn't it like Gwinnett?
I think it is. Yeah. The Chicago situation is different. It's the opposite of that. And that my hunch is the majority of their fan base is coming from the northern suburbs, talking to folks who grew up in Chicago, northern suburbs. And this, you would have to drive through that to get there. And for those of you who have not been to Chicago recently, 19 miles from this lake to downtown, 30-some miles from this lake to like
25, yeah.
Yeah, to Arlington Heights, it's more like 40 miles. In Chicago, it's 2 hours.
Yeah, like right now.
I mean, you are not getting you're not going to come from northern suburbs through that to get to those games.
Oh, God, no. Right now from downtown, it is 48 minutes with $13 of toll, 56 minutes with no tolls. That's right now. That's 3:48 on a Thursday. 2:48 on a Thursday. Yeah.
Middle of the afternoon on a Thursday?
Yeah.
And that's from downtown. You're not talking about like Evanston, Buffalo Grove, Arlington Heights, all the northern suburbs.
This is in essence if like the Brown Stadium was in Columbus.
Yeah.
In terms of how long
it took you to get there.
Actually try to take you to get there when people are trying to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, I can
That's
tell
not the
you
Chicago Bears.
In the last hour, this seems to be getting very real traction.
There's
a number of national media people that are saying this is not just a ploy. This is very real. The Indiana governor just tweeted, Indiana is open for business.
Yeah.
And our pro-growth environment continues to attract major opportunities like this partnership with the Bears. We've identified a promising site near Wolf Lake and established a broad framework for negotiating a final deal. If approved, the proposed amendment to Senate Bill 27 puts forward the essential framework to complete this agreement proceeding smoothly. The state of Indiana moves at the speed of business, and we've demonstrated that through our quick coordination between state agencies, local government, and the legislature to set a stage for a huge win for all Hoosiers. We have built a strong relationship with the Bears.
Here's the thing, as I understand it. There's a lot of money in Chicago. There's a lot of money on the Gold Coast, people living on the lake. That is not going to be an easy commute. There's a lot of money in the north suburbs.
Yep.
That is going to be – it takes you an hour to get to downtown Chicago from the north suburbs.
Yeah. They were already complaining about that.
Yeah.
Like people not wanting to go from into downtown unless they're going to build a freeway, which it seems to me like they're perpetually working on those freeways over there. I've never driven through Chicago in the last 19 years that I've lived in Ohio. I have never driven through Chicago. I've driven through there a lot for all the Big Ten stuff, kids lacrosse, all that stuff. I have never driven through there and not seen construction.
Correct.
So I don't see a scenario. I don't care. I've been there in the summer. winter for the Big Ten basketball tournament. I've never seen it not have construction. I mean, this cannot be what ownership wants.
It depends how good the deal is, right? I mean,
I don't know. Indiana's willing to give them a new dome stadium.
I get that, and the other thing you run into here is this is Hallis McCaskey ownership. Their wealth is the team.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The deal could matter quite a bit.
Yeah.
Here's the good news. I mean, if you're for Baby Doll, it's only 20 miles from Olympia Fields.
He can zip right there.
He could zip right there. He'll have no traffic whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that gives me, as somebody who's gone from the north suburbs to Olympia Fields and who last year for the turkey hunt was planning on going from the north suburbs to Olympia Fields and then heading up to Wisconsin. And it was when I woke up to go, it was a 2-hour drive to Olympia Fields from Glencoe.
From the northern suburbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just not going.
So then I said, I'm not doing that.
No, I'm not doing it. No, and I think that's what will happen here. Like you'll basically turn off the faucet of the northern suburbs and you'll turn off in an era where when you think about building stadiums and you think about an arena, it has to be so elite because of how great the home experience is. Now you're adding this.
Yeah.
This is not the Giants and the Jets playing in the Meadowlands.
No.
This is not that.
You can see it from there.
Correct.
I don't know how good people's eyes are, but I would imagine seeing the sky. You won't see the skyline from the stadium of Chicago. Maybe
on
how super clear day.
You probably should be able to. I think you could see it.
It's still 20 miles.
Yeah, but even like as you just get out of Gary, you can see the.
Yep.
Like when you do that drive, when you get through Gary, you can see the
skyline.
Chicago skyline so formidable, and it's all on the water, so you can that helps, right? So you can see all of it. This would be a wild thing.
This is, I mean, it's
very real.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of traction now.
Well, I think
all of a sudden, the Illinois State Legislature canceled a meeting this morning to talk about it.
Yeah.
Canceled it. I'm like,
but that's a major revenue loss.
No. Good Lord, yeah.
That's the thing. Like people were going a little bit wild about what was going on here. We stayed in the same county.
We did. Yes, we did.
The same county. They're going to a different state.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going. Yeah. I mean, you hit it. I was the other one that to me I could see doing this at some point would be the Bengals, if the state of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Offered them something.
Yeah, that to me, that's
just
slightly different.
Well, yes, because they don't have the population, they don't have the transit issues.
Isn't it just the river?
It's right across.
Kentucky is.
Well, this is right across the border. Like the Illinois border is right on it.
Yeah.
But Chicago, just takes so long to get in there.
Yeah. Isn't that river the river in Cincinnati isn't the other side of that?
Yeah, the Ohio River right on the other side is Kentucky.
Yeah,
so Covington, Kentucky is right on the other side.
You could walk to Kentucky.
Yeah, it would be more like where if you put the Bengals stadium where the Cincinnati airport is, which is 20 minutes into Kentucky.
For sure.
But even that is 20 from
That's much closer.
From Cincinnati. Yeah. Like there is no time of day, I don't believe, where you could get from downtown Chicago to this stadium in 20 minutes.
No.
Even 2:00 in the morning, I don't think.
Doubtful. Yeah, doubtful.
I mean,
that's the thing. Like, I came from out to here today. I came out here from downtown and went right past where our stadium was. It was here in 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you never. It's apples and avocados when you think of the difference of that.
Just one quick update: Team USA and Canada are in overtime, 3-on-3, tied at 1.
Well, that won't take long, as you learned with the men's 2 games yesterday. When you get into overtime, it goes quick.
It's interesting. Like they've wrapped up regulation and actually took a full intermission rest instead of just starting right away.
Going for it.
Yeah.
I saw. Noted hockey expert Skip Bayless
Perfect.
Was, really dialed in.
Yep.
This morning, one of the NHL guys I'm buddies with, Greg Wyshynski, writes for ESPN. He retweeted it. That's the only reason I see it, because God knows I don't follow Skip Bayless. But he tweeted, a NHL take note, the 3-on-3 overtime really works. And then underneath it was the AI. Did we just win?
We just won.
There we go.
Told
you it'd go quick.
The G-Man just lost his mind.
I told you it would go quick.
I heard young Gabriel.
You can yell.
Yes, young Gabriel.
Celebrate.
USA.
I don't know how it trickled through.
There's like 7 Ohio State women's hockey players on these 2 rosters.
Wow.
It's like 7 of them.
So I take
their
they're
program's
pretty good.
really good, loaded. One of them is currently, several of them are former. One of them is a current Ohio State player. And I just thought about how interesting like the excused absence was. Oh, you're going to miss some of our season. Where are you going to be? Oh, I'm going to be trying to win a gold medal. Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm
go
playing
ahead.
for the country.
Go ahead.
I'm playing for the homeland.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're excused. That's fine. The Bayless thing, he was like, NHL take note on 3-on-3. The NHL has played 3-on-3 overtime for years. And the AI underneath it said, actually, the NHL has been
Done doing
this.
that, yeah.
So, good job, bud.
By the way, young Gabriel, was there a Sid the Kid update for you?
He's going to be fine.
Oh, he ran. He leapt out of his chair.
The rumor is that he could play tomorrow if he wanted to.
And you're rooting for him, right? You're rooting for Canada because of Sid?
No, not for Canada. No.
Yeah.
No, the U.S. better win gold.
Okay.
Is this like when Joe Montana was tossed aside by the 49ers for some I don't remember the guy's name. Steve Old, and
I don't know. He was
became
the
a
first
Chiefs
guy
fan for a
introduced
while.
at the Super Bowl, though. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's like, have you ever watched been like at a wrestling show? The first match, it's like, oh, we're just gonna warm the crowd up a little bit. Oh, it's a name they know, but like this is not the main event.
No. Get the Brooklyn
Main
Brawler
event,
in there.
Yeah, the main event was when you had, I think it was 3 people in a row were Brady, Montana, and Manning. I think that was the main event.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It is a mailbag day. Get your questions in. Tweet them at Browns_daily using the hashtag AskCBD. Also hit us up on youtube.com/Browns. Ask anything, and we will get to that list.
What
By the
else
way,
would you like?
Browns Therapy did a fantastic job on a Game of Thrones. You and I on.
Let's see.
You seem to be, I think we might be the Tarleys. Either that or you are Jaime Lannister and I'm Bronn.
I mean, I like the sound of that a great deal.
Well, I mean, not all of the things Jaime Lannister did were things that you would aspire to be.
No. But wonderful redemption in
But
his
unfortunately,
character arc.
yeah, and you know how this, when you see this one that he put us in,
It's bad. I don't. Why am I not seeing
this
it?
is where
oh, here we go. Hold on.
this is where the slump comes from. The first time they're going to slump us.
Oh, they're going to slump us. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's out on the open field where the dragon's going to come in. That's exactly
the
who we are.
Dothraki.
Yeah.
That doesn't end well. You really didn't need the dragons in that, as it turned out. She just ended it in about 2 seconds, which should have been a harbinger of things to come.
Yeah, just
go. Let's just go do this, and then we'll go handle what's going on up there. Maybe that from your wartime conciliary. All right, so Team USA wins gold. Well done. Very, very cool. Mailbag in the second hour of the program. Mel Kiper Jr. with some thoughts on this year's draft in the second hour of the program, and our position reviews continue in the interior of the defensive line. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. NFL Combine is next week in Indianapolis. Mel Kiper Jr.
Oh, baby.
My guy. Big Mel guy. Love Mel.
Mel.
He was on the Rich Eisen show, and we're going to hear some of the audio from this.
Fantastic.
This is all courtesy of the Rich Eisen show on ESPN. Let's start with NFL teams in need of a wide receiver. Sound familiar? Here is Mel on the class.
Where is it deepest, Mel? What do you think?
Wide receiver, Rich. You're going to be talking a lot about the wide receiver depth into day three and beyond. Maybe undrafted free agents come out of that position. But it's a little top heavy, but there's depth throughout. And there's some speed guys. Zachariah Branch at Georgia, I like more than some others do because I didn't get down the field enough. Well, they were bubble screens. That's what he did. And he's a great return man. Kick returns are huge in the NFL these days. And also Brendan Thompson out of Mississippi State's another kid who can fly. They had a huge year with the Bulldogs. But you look at that list, Carnell Tate, it's going to be interesting. Did the Tennessee Titans take him at 4? Did the Giants take him at 5? If you need a guy, Rich, who can get open, run great routes, and catch the football. We see guys that have gone to first round and drop too many balls. Carnell Tate doesn't drop the football. So that dependability, that reliability is going to be huge if he goes to Cam Ward or if he goes to Jackson Dart. They're going to really like that addition of Carnell Tate to that offense.
Yeah, I mean, Tate, to be honest with you, as a Michigan fan, he's the receiver that would scare me the most over the last couple of years after JSN departed because, Jeremiah Smith, as great as he is, and we're going to end up talking about him in a draft down the road as a possible top pick in the draft, even crazier from a wide receiver, depending on what the quarterback position looks like. He's that good. At least he's been that good for sure. That you could potentially double him and take him out, and then Carnell Tate will just tear you a new one. That guy is the real deal, Mel. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and next year, we thought quarterback was going to be this year. Quarterback's going to be next year. It fizzled out this year, Rich. But you mentioned Jeremiah Smith. You're going to have Arch Manning. You're going to have Dante Moore, Morgan. You're going to have quarterbacks up there at the top. And Jeremiah Smith in any year is going to go high. But those quarterbacks, because obviously the value of that position, the most important position in any sport in the world, will go a little higher possibly.
High praise for Carnell Tate on that one, which isn't surprising. He got Michigan pretty good this year, 5 for 82, and then he had the touchdown with the.
He's really good. What I don't like about that right there, he was like, he's either going to Cam Ward or Jackson Dart, making it sound like he's not getting out of the top 5 in any scenario. He didn't even mention it, so it'd be a good pick for the Browns at 6. He didn't even get there.
Didn't get there.
He's like
no,
Titans 4, Giants 5.
I like Zachariah Branch as well. Their offense changed a lot with Gunnar Stockton from Beck. Stockton did not have the ability to drive the ball down the field, so you didn't get as much deep stuff with him.
Yep.
So I think Mel made a really good point there in terms of what he was asked to do by Georgia. You know who would have a direct line into Georgia? Your new head coach.
That's right.
So whatever he is, Todd knows it.
That's right.
He knows it. He knows exactly who he is. Two guys that I think are going to be very divisive at the top of this draft because I think both of these guys are as close to sure thing NFL players. They just unfortunately play positions where it's difficult for teams to put value on these, and it's safety and running back. But Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love are absolute studs. He was asked if they are top 10 picks.
You're looking at the end of your top 10, as we just saw. Jeremiah Love, 9 to Kansas City. Caleb Downs, 10 to Cincinnati. And those are just two guys that are massive difference makers that might last to 9 and 10 because of the positions they play not being viewed as valuable as maybe tackle, pass rusher, or in the case of Jordan Tyson, wide receiver. That said, let's just say somebody covets one of these two guys. Where do you see the inflection point for a trade in this draft and the top of it, Mel Kiper Jr.?
Love is really interesting because I've always said, Rich, and you know this, don't take a running back in the first.
Right.
But I keep screaming to people, well, you don't grade a player based on a philosophy of grade him on ability. On ability, he's the second best player in this draft. Matt Miller has him number 1 on his board, Jeremiah Love, right? And he can do so many things. You can put him out in the slot wide. Great hands, great receiver. He's kind of like Reggie Bush was, only bigger. You think about where we are right now in terms of Bijan Robinson and that grade, very similar with Jeremiah Love.
Gibbs.
So all the running backs, with
Jameer
Fournette,
Gibbs too. Yeah,
exactly. Jameer Gibbs. All those guys had high grades, Rich. So, and they were versatile. This kid can do so many things. He's an explosive play waiting to happen. So for me, Arizona's got to think about him. You definitely, when you get down to New Orleans, the Kansas City Chiefs. Can you imagine putting him in New Orleans or Kansas City? Kansas City doesn't want to pick 9 anymore. They want to be picking a 32, right? So Jeremiah Love's going to be in that top 9 somewhere. Mentioned Downs. Remember Kyle Hamilton? You were there. He ran 4.59. Then he ran with 4.56 at his pro day. Had the injury that final year, and he drops to 14 to the Baltimore Ravens. Now he's one of the best players, defensive players in the NFL. Forget safety. They move him around. One of the best defensive players, most impactful defensive players in the league is Kyle Hamilton. He dropped to 14. So for Caleb Downs to say 10, who doesn't have the talent, the ability that I thought that Hamilton had, very similar instinctively though, well, because of how Kyle Hamilton's done, even though he's not physically what Hamilton is, well, Caleb Downs going to bump up maybe to 5 to the Giants. That's the debate for the Giants and John Harbaugh. Do we see enough of that in Downs to make him the 5th pick, or does he get down there to Cincinnati at pick number 10?
Yeah, I know. The combination of Bengal Buckeye fans are hoping Caleb Downs is there at 10.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Nope. That's going to be, that to me would be like when Kyle Hamilton went to the Ravens.
Same.
No thanks.
Like, not there.
Yeah.
Come on. Don't do that. You talked about this, Ty Simpson, and certainly a quarterback could start to make some noise. He would be the one that it feels like if there's a second one that goes in round 1, perhaps it is the former Alabama quarterback. Here is Mel Kiper Jr. on Ty Simpson's stock.
You had Ty Simpson going off the board right in the middle to the Jets. And, you know, I'll be honest, that one would confuse me a little bit, Mel, because the Jets purposefully took a draft choice from Dallas not as soon as they could take it. They said put it in 2027. And when I saw that, I'm like, well, they're seeing what you're seeing. They're seeing that draft class at quarterback coming up next year. So you think they would maybe pull the trigger on Ty Simpson now? What's your evaluation of this kid, Mel?
Well, I can't project trades in that mock. So
Sure.
You think about where the Jets are picking at 16. Will somebody be in a position that they like him enough to move up? Probably not. So you think, okay, he'll be there at 16. Will they take him? They took Joe Namath out of Alabama, Richard Todd out of Alabama. Will they go that route again? Do they think highly enough of Ty to move forward with him, knowing that next year, as you said, with those 3 first-round picks, they could be scaring Arch Manning and Dante Moore right in the face. And ironically, when I put Dante Moore to Jet fans were scared. We don't want him. They saw the way he finished. Well, they're going to want him next year after he has a great year with the Oregon Ducks. I can guarantee you that, Rich. But to the point about the quarterback, Ty Simpson, if you saw him up until mid-November, all right, 22 touchdowns, 2 picks, around 70% completion percentage. Now, he did have some fumbles starting around that area, 5 fumbles lost in 5 straight games, then 1 in the game against Indiana. But he was on point for the first almost 3 quarters of the season, right? And they were talking about top 5 overall. Some were saying QB1. Now, all of a sudden, he can't play. So there's got to be some balance there in the evaluation. I think when you get down to Pittsburgh, where Field Yates had him going in his mock, or the Rams late in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be one. I mean, last year, Dart was the one.
Yep.
That going into the combine, there wasn't a whole lot of talk about him as a first rounder, and then it happened. So there's going to be one. I think what you and I talked about this before, but like you think about Simpson wasn't even one of those guys that were in the talk. It was Aller and Klubnik and Lenore Sellers, and who's back at South Carolina. I mean, it was would Arch come out a whole year early, but he really struggled at the start of the year before playing decently down the stretch. So yeah, I think that there will be. You think about Nussmeier. That's another one who. Going into last season, Nussmeier, Klubnik, Aller, all those teams are ranked in the top 10. All of those teams disappointed, and in many in one of those instances, the coaches were on to different places. 2 of those instances, LSU and Penn State. But it's not like those guys forgot how to play football. So what contributed to their down seasons? Was it them? Was it teams around them? Who knows?
Right.
But these were guys a year ago at this time who felt like first-round locks.
Well, yeah, that's why I said it kind of petered out.
It did.
And that's the thing when you say, he's like, well, next year's going to be loaded. Well,
we were told that last year.
This was supposed to be loaded. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this was supposed to be loaded.
Oh, wait till you get till next year.
Yeah.
Klubnik, Aller, all these. Okay, well, now where is it?
Yep.
So, that's something that always happens over there. This is something you and I have talked about a lot since the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and I'm curious Mel's answer to this. Will how Seattle built their operation have a ripple effect throughout the league?
The performance, the tape, and the great. He went in the second round, Rich. So this notion that if you're great at the combine, you had a heck of a year, you're going to get this big bump up. Nicky Manwari went in the second round, and he was a key guy on the defense side, one of the best defensive rookies in the league. So for me, hey, the combine, Jacob Parrish dropped to the third round. He had a great combine out of Kansas State, went in the third round at Tampa Bay, great year. Kyle Hamilton didn't run great, dropped to 14. So there's no, I always say, there's nothing automatic about good or bad at the combine, pro days. Like I say, nothing you can mark down and say this is going to happen based on that, because we get surprises every year.
There you go.
I'm excited for it. That's what part of this. That's what's fun about it.
Yeah,
that's what's fun about it. Is kind of hearing the movers, the risers, the shakers, the quarterbacks, and obviously he said, at the beginning it was a wide receiver. Wide receivers, teams in needs of wide receiver will love this year's draft. Get me the best guy. Get me that guy that he was just saying Tate, and he was like Tate 4-5, Tate 4-5, Cam Moore, Jackson Dart. How about Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson? How about that?
That would interest me a great deal. So this is going to be fun, tackling all these things down when we get to Indianapolis next week. Coming up next, we continue our position reviews on the interior of the defensive line. Could this be a room that needs to be accentuated a little bit? We will get to that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Continuing with our position reviews, we're on the interior of the defensive line at defensive tackle. Massive investment has happened at this position through the years. Could more be in the offering, Dr. Z?
Well, you never can say, can you?
Nope.
You never can say. I think that it certainly is possible that there could be more in the offing in this position room, and I think that really the reason there shouldn't be is because your top 2 picks in each of the last 2 drafts were to this position. That's why it shouldn't be, because Mason Graham 5th overall, Mike Hall you took with your first pick 2 years ago in the 2nd round. Now, Mike Hall just has not been what you wanted him to be. It was off-field things in his rookie season, then a significant injury, and he showed flashes, but he hasn't been that guy for you that you expected. You expected him to be, Mike Hall, Mason Graham. We're good at this position. Those are our starters for, a while. Now, Malik Collins came in, and he was phenomenal for you last year. 6.5 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, fumble recovery. He was on his way, I think, to being, certainly in Pro Bowl contention, Pro Bowl alternate contention, All-Pro contention, all of those things. But now he's coming back off of a serious injury himself. Yeah. And so what does that look like for you if you are the Cleveland Browns? So one of the questions that I think the Browns have in this room is what are our body types? So Malik Collins, 6'2", 310. Mason, 6'4", 315. Mike Hall, 6'3", 300. Shelby Harris, who has been great, high-fiving refs. We love him on this program. Great guy, veteran. He just knows how to block kicks and knock the ball down. We don't beat Green Bay without him.
Nope.
6'2", 288. Aiden Huntington, 6'1", 281, and Sam Kamara, 6', 272. So we don't have necessarily some guys as big as some of the other, defensive tackles in similar style defenses to what we play. Like we maybe need another big 300-pounder is what I would guess. Like when you look around.
So Jalen Carter, 6'3", 313.
He's quite big.
And quite good.
Quite good. The guys that are in Houston, for example, are, Tommy Togiai's ended up thriving there. They've got a couple big guys, a couple of smaller guys. It's just a matter of kind of from a body type standpoint, do we have what we want? Now, the interesting thing, again, is we could be looking at this defensive tackle room, and if Jawan Briggs was still here and Tommy Togiai was still here, you're probably feeling a little bit better about it.
Yeah.
Jawan Briggs is 6'1", 313, was the strongest guy at the combine. You had him in the 7th round. Guy has 4 sacks and 8 tackles for a loss last year for the Jets. And I don't remember what we got in compensation, but I can't imagine that it was significant. And then the other guy who was on the Cleveland Browns that we drafted and then ended up trading, which was a 4th-round pick, was Tommy Togiai. He had a very solid season for them, 1.5 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. It was his best season of his young career and made some big plays even in the playoffs for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
But we don't have them. So you've got Mason Graham that everybody here is very enthusiastic about, and I think that, from a pressure standpoint, he did all of that. Didn't have the sacks, only a half a sack. You want to see him get more than that. You need Mike Hall to go, bring Shelby back. You need Malik to return to form following this injury. And then I think you need, I wonder if Aiden Huntington's kind of fast-tracked to be off the defense and to be a special teams Patrick Ricard for us, given Monken's experience with him. I think you probably need one more guy, a bigger, stronger guy. Now, we've tried.
Gosh, have we?
I mean, we've tried. You think about
who's the guy from Baylor? We had him in the 3rd. Why am I blanking on that? You mentioned Togiai, and you mentioned
Siaki Ika.
Siaki Ika, yeah.
Who's out of the league?
Yeah.
Siaki out of the league. We picked him in the 3rd round. Yeah, that was a shocker. That was a 3rd round in 23. You did a 2nd round pick in 24, Mike Hall, a 1st round pick in 25, Mason Graham. So that you've made significant investment there. This room feels pretty good to me. Graham, Hall, Collins, Shelby. Bring Shelby back.
Yep.
Aiden Huntington can be a floater or whatever, and then maybe there's one more guy that you're interested in. But that sometimes when the Browns, we were talking about how deep this room was last year, but that's how Jawan Briggs ends up gone, because you wanted to keep Shelby as the veteran and Aiden Huntington, and there wasn't a spot for him. And then he goes on and has a monster season for the Jets. Defensive line, I feel pretty good about. I do think I wouldn't be surprised if we do add somebody into that room, and maybe just somebody with a little bit of a bigger body.
Yeah,
who can move? Obviously, we had Siakiko's a huge body, but
it's hard for me to imagine a scenario where we pay a premium for it in free agency or trade, or even a premium in the draft.
I don't.
We just
so.
do the offensive stuff all the time. We've gone through these position groups, and it's like we need several guys up front.
Oh, yeah.
We need a massive weapon.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, you can run this out, and this should be the investment. You're talking about the what? What was Mason?
By the way,
pick in the draft? Fifth?
Yeah,
last year?
Fifth overall.
Fifth overall. Mike Hall is a second rounder. Like,
and you had the year before that third rounder,
Yeah.
Siakika. The year before that, Perrion Winfrey in the third round.
right.
The year before that, Togiai in the fourth round.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been drafting a defensive tackle,
Every year.
and Briggs was in the seventh round
Yeah.
of the Mike Hall year.
Yeah, it's a lot of draft capital.
Yeah.
I'm with you. All right, we'll open up that mailbag coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, Barking Backers, official dog fan club of the Cleveland Browns. It's here to get your pup in on the action. Enjoy exclusive gear, tail wagging events, and more made just for Browns dogs. Memberships are available now. So fetch yours today or gift one to a furry friend at barkingbackers.com. Time to wrap this baby up with a little bit of the mailbag. Hello, Gibby.
Absolutely nothing finer. The U.S.
By the way,
getting their
go ahead, Gibby.
The U.S. getting their medals right now.
Beautiful.
The Team USA, the women's Olympic team, just won gold in overtime against Canada, if you're just joining us. The Team USA kits are gorgeous, both men's and women's. They're throwback to the 80 Olympic team. So you have more of the royal blue versus the navy, which we've worn in recent years. But it is strong, strong, strong.
Yeah, not too shabby. I understand how you do the medal ceremony, and you have the bronze medal team up there, and you give them their medals, and then you give the silver medal. But, like, is there – I think the Canadians would like to be anywhere else, maybe at the bottom of an avalanche.
They weren't expected to win that game, though. I realized they were 2 minutes away from glory, but yeah.
It's a rivalry.
I just can't imagine. I mean, they invented the sport. We're just better at it on the women's side.
Yeah.
Our development's better. We're just more organized. And so I don't know. You'd have to ask the G-Man. He may know if the Canadian women's team has ever won gold in the Olympics. I don't know if they have.
Oh, yes.
They have multiple
Yes.
times? Okay. Yeah, but we are the better operation. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm just, the Canadian, they're being gracious in defeat, but they're also like, get me the hell off of the ice.
Yeah, it's not a fun.
Like, I'd like to go
it's not a
somewhere
fun place
else.
to be.
No, that sucks.
Yeah.
You can tweet at the show your questions at Browns_daily. You can also send them to us on our YouTube chat, youtube.com/Browns. Greister tweets at the show. We kick it off with him. I was listening to some fly-by-night podcast and heard Siciliano besmirch the steaks at St. Elmo. What gives?
Okay. I don't know the context of this.
I don't either.
I do remember we broke bread with Siciliano last year at the Combine.
That's
I remember he didn't order a steak.
No, he did not.
He got the fish, I believe.
He got one of the fish options that were on there. So I would have to
I think he
know
goes.
the context.
He went more than with just us, so he may have gotten a steak the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably true. He's probably there the first night too.
Yeah. Like this year, I think if he joins us on Tuesday, he'll be going back to back. He's going Monday.
Yeah.
That's like one of his traditions. So I think that's probably maybe he splits it up.
Do you have context? You know what he said about the steak?
No,
Just so
I mean, the only thing that we've talked about is the fact that you have to order.
You order
medium.
the temp. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, the temp's
for
wild.
some reason and you went off on this, and I think it's the correct. It's just insane that there's not because there is a standard.
Yeah,
There's an actual temperature
measured.
This is what it is for this.
Yeah,
And they just ignore it. This is, as I've gotten older, and you and I have discussed this before, I prefer the way I cook a steak almost more than any white tablecloth steakhouse.
100%.
It takes a lot.
Especially when you're talking about half beef.
Well, half beef,
the best beef in the world.
Oh, sure. But I now oftentimes at steak places, the only thing that if it's on a menu that makes me really think about it, if there's some sort of, if some place has something like a half beef, well, then that's there. But then the other thing is if there's a dry aged, because that's something I can't do at home. So I'm always interested in that. Like Jeff Ruby's Joint in Columbus has a dry aged option that is, they got it figured out. And the other thing is prime rib.
Of course.
Because
which they have at Elmo's.
Which they have.
And
And
which I
we'll
will
be
be
sucking
getting.
down. But last year I learned my lesson because you were like, dude, I'm telling you. And I'm like, dude, I am not ordering not medium rare. And then I got it and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is rare.
Yeah, we need that fat to matriculate
Because it
into the
wasn't
meats.
even,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, like, if I order medium, will they actually do it medium rare? I think that's the only thing
I think so.
that is a little bit of an issue.
Yeah. I'm going to say.
But I'm going to do it medium rare. I'm going to do medium this year because of what happened last year. Because there was a lot
I
of
might even just say, listen, I'm not even going to say a temperature to you. I want this to come out with a warm, a hot pink center.
Yes. And I need the fat on the prime rib rendered. I can't have it be still hard.
Gelatinous.
No, it's gelatinous. It's like, well,
it was like an animal.
It was.
Yeah.
From Love a Dog today, do you like sauce on top of your pasta or do you mix it all together?
So it's a good question there. It truly depends on what the sauce is. Certain pastas are made to have a bed of pasta with a sauce over it, and then certain pastas are made to be, you make the pasta, you dump it in the sauce, you mix it all around, and don't wash any of that good sticky starch off the pasta so that it really absorbs the sauce. It just depends on what the sauce is.
So when I do, if I do spaghetti for the family, then I mix that all in. Or if I do...
Because the kids aren't going to care one way or the other.
No. Well, no, and I like it to take on all the sauce. So I always have, some of the water from the pasta that I pour in, and then so that it all gets married in together. So if I do a bolognese or if I do a spaghetti, then I do it that way. Now, if I do a piccata masala or something like that, then that is on top, is the way I do that.
Yeah,
that's my rule.
It depends on the pasta.
Yeah.
To me, if I'm doing a bolognese, obviously it all goes in. If I'm doing what I would call more of a ragu or a marinara with meatballs on top of it, then I would put that on top of the bed of spaghetti. Okay. But I do, I do the sausage, the Giada di Laurentiis, which I love sausage, and artichoke and sun-dried tomato, mozzarella. That's all a mixed-in pasta. Vodka sauce is typically always a mixed-in pasta for me. You have to be careful because with a pasta that's maybe a little, use a lot brothy and white winey, you almost want to get some of the sauce, put it in there, and then serve it all at once. Because if you leave it in there, that just the pasta absorbs everything, and all of a sudden you have no sauce. Your sauce is gone.
Yep.
So depends on your portions. Are you trying to have leftovers, things like that? You have to adjudicate these things.
All sound points.
From our friend Trey Carey, what's the best condiment for a hot dog besides ketchup or mustard?
I
don't even know what another one
a little
would
relish.
be.
A good sweet pepper relish.
I like a relish.
Yeah.
If I'm at a now the only place I consume a hot dog is if I go to a baseball game.
Yeah.
Or on the golf course every once in a while. Someone will say, you're making the turn, grab a dog, type of situation. I've seen that happen.
Would terrify me on a golf course.
Yeah. I mean, it's very rare. I think it's maybe happened twice.
Gibbe was eating gray-green hot dogs down in Cincinnati. Those are the craziest looking hot dogs I've ever seen.
Were they like those brat things that
I don't even know
kind of had the gray color, or was they?
No, it was a hot dog.
Knowing that group, my guess is that was an Oscar Mayer from 2 weeks before.
I am not going to lie; it was a necessity that morning. There were whatever it took to get me game ready. That's what that was.
If a gray-green hot dog is what it takes,
then you're in a spot.
You're in a spot.
So if I do it, I do
ketchup only.
Ketchup on one side, mustard on the other, and relish over the middle. That's the way I do it. I do like pickles or relish on a hot dog.
I could put truff on it. I could put a barbecue sauce on it. I wouldn't be afraid.
Yeah, I don't understand. I know some people are like, you cannot put ketchup on a hot dog. I don't get that.
That's all I do. So
I don't get that at all.
Watch me.
Yeah.
My dad hated it.
Anti?
Oh, he was so against it. He wanted me to put yellow mustard.
No dice. And do you like mustard?
I can be okay with a honey mustard. I can be okay with a stone ground mustard, but mustard is not.
It's not for you.
It's not for me. Yeah. I'm not for mustard.
We had.
I never root for mustard in the hot dog races at a Guardian game. Hope mustard gets smoked.
Get him out.
Team ketchup.
We were. I at a quick stop. I had some delightful fish tacos on Monday in Southern California.
Oh baby!
It was everything I kind of wanted in the mix, and except I did spot a crema on there, and I said, you know what? Take that crema right off.
Yeah, right out of here.
Get that out of here.
Yeah.
Don't need it.
Why do we need it?
You don't need it.
If it's good, you don't need it.
You don't need it, man. You don't need it. You don't need it.
That's why I love an al pastor. No, there's never a crema with an al pastor.
What are we doing on Monday night?
Yeah, we got to figure that
out.
Next time you see Mr. Tyvis Powell and you ask him about, I want you to ask him about his new favorite protein at the Chipotle, because what you just called it, what his pronunciation was El Pasture. So when I asked him about it, when he and I were talking yesterday, I said, is this a pasture bird?
It's also al pastor chicken, which is not what tacos al pastor is not made with chicken.
It is damn good. I mean, it's
because
on the
it's
Chipotle.
got a little pineapple.
It's got a little juice to it. Yeah, But I said, is this a free-range bird, or is this a bird that was a man of the cloth?
Yeah.
Like pastor.
Yeah.
Like pastor.
And he came back with what?
And he just didn't know. He had no idea. And I said, well, we'll work on it, young nephew. We're going to work on it. So
it's very sad.
We can add it to the list of things I got to work on with him.
All right. Joe's got an interesting question today. I played a sanctioned event on a simulator with 4 teams of 4. I won a prize for my first hole-in-one at said event. It was an awesome moment. I didn't feel right.
No.
I know the answer, but I'll ask anyways.
No.
Should I count this?
No.
I don't.
Are you nuts? Absolutely not, Joe. I want to give it to you. It's
enjoy it. It's a wonderful moment. Have the time of your life, but these two things are not the same.
I knocked one in from about 60 yards at Pebble on Monday when we went to the sim, and you get fireworks and it says it shows you the whole thing. It's I don't feel like I made a golf shot.
No, it's not. No, it's not hitting a hole-in-one on Tiger Woods on the Xbox, but it's also not an actual.
Yes,
it's somewhere in between.
But just as far from being, while it is more real than the Tiger, it is just as far from being an actual hole-in-one as Tiger.
I think you're probably right that it is. Yeah,
it's 0%.
There's a high propensity of hole-in-ones and hole-outs on simulator golf, and is my experience.
Like if I was gonna rank the 0% hole-in-ones, it's a higher 0% hole-in-one, but it's still 0.0% valid as a hole-in-one.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, unfortunately. Enjoy it. It's awesome. Have fun. I'm glad it was a great moment.
It's a real treat.
So
hopefully you got something off of your friends.
It only counts if like and it doesn't count as a real hole-in-one, but it counts if like when they were doing that thing on Barstool that night where they had 24 hours, they had to get a hole-in-one on number 7. Like when you make that because you've accomplished a goal, which was to make a hole-in-one on a simulator, it's still not a hole-in-one in the real world.
No.
I need another one.
Have you had one?
2.
Where at?
One at a course down in Georgia when I was in college, but it was an uphill par 3, so I didn't even see it go in. But when we went up there, I knew I had a good shot. But when we went up there, the guy's like, whoever hit third. Yeah. Whoever hit third knocked it in. And I was like, that was me.
Don't you have the...
And I have the video at Walden.
At Walden with your kids?
2, with the kids.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah, on a Father's Day.
And you had it on video.
Yeah, Miss K is probably of real golf shots I've hit, maybe videoed 5 in my life.
That is crazy.
And one of them
you have an on-video hole-in-one.
Yeah, me and Boots go chasing down the fairway.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
That's so cool. So cool.
Yeah. Right behind it, a little spin, right in, and I was like,
whoa, let's go. It's awesome.
Steve Hodge tweets at the show, if we can...
I like that question, though. That guy was a good question.
Yeah.
This is a good
if we can somehow get Linderbaum and a tackle in free agency, and fingers crossed Joel comes back, then get a stud tackle and guard in the draft, it could go a long way in retooling the O-line. What do you guys think? Been a fan since 1971, wearing quarter zips.
Oh, dude.
Love
God
it.
bless you.
Yes, thank you.
Quarter zips. Love the fan since 71.
Yeah, of course that would go a long way. I think Linderbaum, I don't think we have a chance at Linderbaum. I know somebody who's pretty well connected, thinks Linderbaum's going to get, north of $80 million. Not in a year, but 4 years. He will be the most
highest.
I know that from scuttlebutt that I've heard, the Ravens offered him a contract to make him the highest paid center in NFL history, and he said, "No thanks, I'm going to the market."
Yeah. So there you
That's
go.
out of our price.
That's
range.
out of our range.
That's out of our range.
That's the thing that's hard with all of this because you get these wish lists of, well, what if we did this? Well, yeah, of course. If you could do all of those things, then yeah, you can flip it in a hurry. But all of those things are very difficult to do, and there's a cap that has to be managed. I mean, this is the crazy thing, and this is just the real truth of it. If there were no cap, the Cleveland Browns would look a lot like the LA Dodgers if there were no cap. This ownership group would go get whatever is necessary.
Totally.
If you could. I mean,
Carolina Panthers probably would look pretty stacked.
Yes, they would.
Kroenke would look pretty. The Rams would be very good.
Yes.
The Bengals would be
big problems.
Toast.
Be done.
Joe Burrow, they'd all be
gone. Yeah, they'd all be gone.
You would only be. It would also cause a reshuffling of ownership because you could only have legit, liquid billionaires.
Yeah.
You couldn't have teams who are wealth was tied. Like it would be the end of the Browns down in Cincinnati, the end of
Spanos, Hallis, all of that.
Chicago,
Rooney, all of it.
All of it.
Bobby time.
Bobby!
Hey, Bobby.
If you had a theme song that played when you entered rooms, what's the vibe? It's
a great one.
Ooh.
A theme song as you enter.
Well, you just said, "What's the vibes?" We didn't make us. The vibes.
I mean, I would say,
positive.
"What's the song?" That's what he should
Song
ask.
is probably the simpler one. The
Depends
easiest
what room I'm walking into. I might have different songs for different rooms.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Cater it to your audience.
Yeah. There was a time I would have said "Whiskey for my friends, beer for my horses."
Great song.
From the great Willie Nelson. Yeah, there's a lot of ones that are good. You know what was really interesting the last couple of weeks? To have the boys, and they already obviously knew it, but like the Bad Bunny halftime, like them singing those songs.
Yeah.
Like Bootsy didn't even know what the words mean.
Yeah.
But he's
He knows
singing the song. And
Yeah.
it's
They're
great.
vibing.
It's great. So yeah, there's good ones out there, but yeah, that's.
I'd probably have a wrestling theme. It could be like the old NWO. Bow wow 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 wow.
I'm a Real American works pretty
Oh,
well.
I'm a Real American. It's
Works
great.
undefeated.
Yeah, it's pretty undefeated.
If aliens observed your daily routine, what would confuse them most? Oof, it's a kid show. Be careful.
Probably I think what would confuse them most is the treatment that the rest of my family gives Buddy Garrity versus what I'm trying to raise as the dog. Because I basically have to undo all of their behaviors with him.
Yeah.
Every time I walk into a room, I have to retrain him because of what they green light versus what I red light. They'd be like, "This is confusing. Why does this hairy thing? Like one guy treats him one way, everybody else treats him another. It's so strange."
I think they would appreciate how much I realized that little Ace Woody was taken from her species, forced to live with giants, and she's communicated very clearly that what gives her great joy is food, and I give her food.
That's it.
I think they'd appreciate that. They might also be like, "You have these old kids. What do you do? What's with
What's
this
a little guy?
What's up with
Who's
this
this
little
guy?
guy?
Little guy here."
I haven't seen a lot of the other humanoids drawn up that way.
The prince who was promised.
That's right.
What's the most unhinged thought you've had in a grocery store?
I mean, you can't say that out
I don't
loud.
think we can talk about that.
I mean, there's a lot of violent things that come into my mind at the checkout lane when I see how some people behave it there. I mean, that's a real, yeah.
I think my unhinged thoughts are a little bit more
Well, there's that too.
kind.
Yeah. There's I just have a great deal of frustration with how some people behave.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what drives me nuts these days, and maybe I don't care if it's bad. People who pay with checks at the grocery store,
I can't believe these
and
still
people
exist.
who pay with cash at the grocery store.
Crazy.
Just tap it and get out.
Get on moving, kids.
You know how long it takes?
There's
Oh, I got
incentives,
3
by the way, with all these cards.
Of course, you get
stuff
something for your
free.
money.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you see
we
that,
had
when
to
I
pay.
see like somebody write out that check, what is that?
Oh, what's going on?
What are we doing? What are
Like
we doing?
property taxes. Yeah, they give you they pass
Yeah.
the credit card fee on to you, but like I'd rather have whatever I'm getting out of that than just giving them the money for nothing.
Absolutely.
How many fake scenarios do you win in the shower daily?
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Thank God. there's
On to
2
the next,
minutes.
Bobby.
This is from Kyle Gratz. I do have to get to this one.
Okay.
Last week you answered who would win in a fight to the death between Maximus, Achilles, and Leonidas.
Yeah.
This week,
Conan.
the same but different. If all Browns players in their prime from 99 to present were in a death match, who are the last 4 standing and who wins?
Hoff and Miles.
Those are the first 2 that are going to come to my mind.
I think that's your final round. I don't think people don't realize how strong Joe is because of
I
how
do.
friendly. I know you
He is
do
quite formidable.
because of how friendly he is.
Yeah.
And he's such a gregarious personality, so I don't think people realize. But I asked him once in here. We were, talking about his playing time, and I asked him once in here, like, if there was something to the effect of, like, it was right when he was doing like the Gladiator thing with The Rock. And I said, who could? And nobody was the answer. That there was nobody he ever played with he couldn't take, and I 100% co-signed.
Believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Hoff
Those
and
2
Miles.
minutes.
I have some other names I'll throw out, but I don't know if I should throw them out. But Hoff and Miles would be my final 2.
Nick Chubb would be a formidable. His raw strength and athleticism and speed.
Yeah.
I mean, his burst would be a little bit of Sir Dunk versus the, in terms of the agility wise.
Sir Dunk.
Yeah, I mean there's some good ones out.
4 pages for Sir Duncan.
30.
I see nothing for you, Uncle James.
I see nothing for you.
What a punk he was. God, he was the worst.
Yeah.
You're on assignment. Enjoy
Yes,
your assignment.
I shall.
My hunch is that you will, and we will be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland.